My friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics on another historic day in the silver market. And fortunately, I am joined by a new guest, Przemysław Radomski, who has new book out about silver and a lot of information, I think, especially as we only a couple days away from Christmas in the middle of the holiday season, people might enjoy. First of all, Przemysław, welcome on in. How are you today, my friend?
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello, Chris, and hello, everyone. I'm doing great. I'm doing great, and glad to be here on the show, especially today when silver is making a historical move above 70. So super exciting. Thank you.
Well, let's be accurate with our terminology there, above 71 now, friend. And as we will dig into, I'm learning from my YouTube courses. I should have hit this right in the beginning, but there's also signs of market stress. It's not just the price rising, perhaps price rising because of some of that stress, which has certainly been building throughout this year. And Shemisla, I'm curious, did you think we were going to be sitting here on December 23rd? I mean, it's just it, it almost looks like a cartoon to look at. I'm like, wait, is that, am I looking at like a different metal
Uh,
or is this crude oil? But 71, it's just it's stunning in its own right. And we will dig into the stress as promised in the headline. But first of all, just anything you want to say, well, we can certainly touch on gold too. I'll give you a quick look there. Gold up another 50 bucks, was up 100 bucks yesterday. But as someone who just has studied the market thoroughly enough to write a book about it, and then you have this happening as your book is coming out, I can only imagine the different thoughts that you must be going through your mind right now. Perhaps you could share them with our audience today.
yeah, I'd be happy to. That's truly amazing because when I started writing the book, it was still in the 40s, and I was honestly expecting to see the silver take off sometime next year, perhaps, and this year to move sideways for a bit. But silver was early, and we're in the 70s right now. So actually, some of the things I wrote about in the book fulfill were no longer a forecast. They were actually a fact by the time the book came out. This includes silver being designated as a critical mineral by the USGS. So I kind of forecasted that it will happen, but before I was able to publish the book, that was already a fact. So that's amazing. And now so many other things, including the physical tightness that you mentioned, uh, is a fact. Different companies and counterparties are kind of racing for to get the physical ownership of the metal. So it's breathtaking actually to be witnessing that in real time. And after having dedicated so many months to research, like arguing that this is going to happen eventually, but then to see it all happen right in front of us right now, like just a month and 2 weeks after publishing the book. So truly amazing and a like breathtaking experience.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And it's funny as you were saying it when you started doing this and then published the book, I was thinking, gee, I hope you didn't start 15 years ago like I did. And you talk about it for a long time before it happens, and certainly gives me appreciation. I mean, there's people who've been talking about this since the 80s, even before then. And when did you first start seeing this, and what led you into studying, or how did you come into this whole circuit?
Well, actually, I got interested in silver also about 20 years ago. But then I was studying it from investor's point of view, just to buy some, and I did buy quite a lot when it was still trading under $5. That was when Ted Butler's analysis was like one of the key sources of information. The silver manipulation theories were just getting a little bit of traction, but it was very niche. And right now we have uh, this, and a lot of that was already proven right. And well, you also contributed to spreading the word. And but basically that's when I got interested in white metal's appeal. But as time went by, more and more silver uses emerged. And despite that, silver price was, well, rallying, but despite the 2010, 2011 performance, it was nothing spectacular. Like nothing as great as the fundamentals would suggest that it should be. So I figured that earlier this year, I figured that there's so much going on around silver, and that um, there has to be a place that's thoroughly researches all that combines everything in one place. And there were many great resources, like what you do. But then I thought that, hey, how about I aggregate all this and put this into one bigger form? And that's how I came up with the idea for the book. But um, to see it play out as early, it's really amazing. So that's my long story short.
Yeah, well, I know what you mean, and I continue to, even as wild as what we're seeing happen now, if I could re-raise that, shall you say, the fact that it's not like you had a failed treasury auction a month or two ago, and this is the fallout. This is even before the debt has been not even resolved, let alone addressed. But like you mentioned, if you go back, well, I guess it's interesting when we look at the supply and demand fundamentals. If you go back 10 or 15 years, it wasn't really till 2020 where we started getting the deficits. And I think even going a little farther back, the concern was, okay, well, if inflation gets out of hand, then, something could be offsides, especially if there's a big short position. Yet, like you point out, the last 5 years, that's manifested in an
Mhm.
overt deficit, which I think is what has brought a lot of these things to a head. And you also touched on something that even as solar panels were ramping up, I mean, I can't say that I foresaw this, but as you mentioned, the strategic silver being added as a strategic critical mineral. And I guess the last thing I'll mention, and you get your opinion, it reminds me this morning when I was writing my column. I was remembering how the day it was officially added to the list. It was added to the draft list in August, then in
Mhm.
October, or maybe November, made official, and people were upset. Hey, they made it official, and I think the price was down a little bit that day. I was thinking, well, this seems like one of those things that you get the announcement now, but like, yes, people are studying it every day. It's significant, but for the rest of the world, was like maybe this is like just wait like a couple months and then you see China restricting silver exports and then Trump ramping up and the government's now taking stakes in companies. So it's like now we have a new source of demand that doesn't maybe should be but is not constrained by a particular budget hopping in there. And if this becomes all right, well, to win our war, we're taking that. So anything you could comment on that?
Um, well, there are many ways in which I would like to take this. Um, Maybe I'll start with the angle of war and take it to a maybe weird angle, maybe weird path. Because right now, I think that a lot of war-related plans, actions, tactics will involve AI, and like the arms race is taking a different form. Like whoever gets the better and faster AI can develop better weapons, better intelligence technology, and so on and so forth. So I'd say that the implications of the AI race uh, are just as big, if perhaps not bigger, for the silver market than the geopolitical tensions themselves. And the reason is twofold, basically, because that's what I find fascinating about AI and silver connection. Because on one hand, silver is used in many ways in in case of, well, connected with the AI revolution, the memories, the memory chips, the architecture of all the data centers, it all requires silver. Like silver is the top conductor of heat and electricity, and there's no substitute for the top one. So it has to be used, basically. So on one hand, you have demand for silver from this source, but on the other hand, you have increasing energy prices because of that, because all this AI revolution and everything related to it is impacting energy markets. And silver mining is using quite a lot of energy. Like there are when you Google for that, you will see that it's like between 50 cents per ounce and 1.6 dollar per ounce. But this accounts for just the final steps of the processing. And when you take everything together, transportation, the materials used and energy used in production of those, and so on and so forth, then you get to about half of the price, depending on energy price, half of the costs. Sorry. So if demand from the AI market and the AI revolution, as I like to call it, increases energy prices, it makes silver more expensive to mine. So you have this twofold way in which it pushes silver prices higher. So that's one thing. And you also mentioned solar panels. And basically, this factor alone is, in my view, able to push silver into triple digits. And I made a note here for because I was sure that this is going to come up. So the International Energy Agency projects over 4,000 gigawatts of new solar capacity will be added worldwide by the end of the decade. That's, to put this into perspective, that's nearly 10 times the current global capacity. So that will require massive amounts of silver. And of course, the question is how much silver has to be used per gigawatt. And the estimates vary. It's between 12 and 12 and 22 tons per gigawatt, based on a source and who estimates that. So if it's 12, this implies roughly 250 million ounces annually of demand for silver. That's about 30% of current silver production. But if it's the upper end of the estimate, so 22 tons of silver per gigawatt, then this means about 450 million ounces of silver demand just for solar panels. That's more than twice as much as is being used right now. And if nothing else changes and I'm basing this on the Silver Institute's numbers, if nothing else changes and solar panels actually use 450 ounces annually, this alone would imply that the deficit on the silver market would increase from 188 million ounces to over 400 million ounces. So more than doubling it. Like if nothing else happens, like all the demand based on inflation and shortages and anything else that I said, this alone means that we get such a huge deficit if the silver is even available, right? And the best part is that even if we're going to have some sort of economic contraction or correction, those solar panels are often the demand for them is often based on government mandates, not
They got
necessarily
the
economic
government
conditions.
dollars behind those.
So it's remarkable. It's like truly unique situation in the silver market. But I'm getting a feeling I took this a bit too wide, and I've been speaking for too long.
No, no, it was beautiful, and it's intriguing with the solar in particular. I know people were upset that on one hand, it's funny when I was doing research for a Silver Report earlier this year,
Mm.
a couple months ago, or the solar nerds were saying at the end of last year was that we're still going to get growth, but it's going to level off. And then I think it was up 64% halfway through the year. Yet in Silver Institute's mid-year forecast, they actually had a decline in silver that went into solar, with a large part of that being that there has been a lot of thrifting going on. And I remember seeing like some of the panels, like and I still confused why, like, once it hits 50, the worry then, but like I've heard from enough people in the industry that they are actively focusing on bringing that down. Now, I wonder how much more they can thrift. Yet, when, like you point out, when you look at some of these government green like projections, it's like we need to triple the
Yeah.
energy in the next however many years. So, it's going to be fascinating, and I'm glad that you touched on that in your book because a very important topic. Not to mention, AI guys, videos aside, there does seem to be legitimate reports that Samsung's working on their solid state battery, which seems to use a lot of silver. So we will see. Although
Mhm.
Przemysław, I'm honored to have you here for breaking news live during the show because Todd Anthony of Pacifica Silver just sent me this. Come on, screen share. Yes, can you see the fastest
That's
things
a good
on
one.
Earth? The rankings have been redone, and there's a cheetah. Now, in the upper right, we have airplanes, which are traditionally quite rapid. Then the speed of light, and then there is silver going from 60 to 70, and any scientific add-ons to what we have here.
Yeah, I can confirm that's the only thing moving faster than the speed of light. It's the silver price appreciation right now.
Well, and let's take a look here. We'll see if we can break 72 while we're on here. And I don't think we'll have to pull an all-nighter on that one either. Truly stunning. Just $3 day after day. Although beneath the surface of that, we got a nice headline here. Intensifying shortage. This is what a run on the London silver market looks like. That's David Jensen. We'll come back to that in a second. But here is Robert Gottlieb, who, as people have heard me say before, used to be a managing director at JP Morgan's Precious Metals desk. And let us, cut the line to over here. Meanwhile, silver tells a different story. The March silver EFP retraced sharply from Friday, closing around 2 to 4 cents, while London OTC remains wide and firmly backwardated, extending even into longer dated forwards. Different metals, different signals, same underlying stress in the physical markets. Actually, is this the one that I was looking for? Let me check that because you had another point there. But while I look for that, I know you've seen many of these things. We've seen lease rates spiking, a whole bunch of different shortages, London, India, and I'll see if I can find his comment. But anything on those that you'd like to share as you've been watching?
Well, I basically can confirm. I don't have any statistics in front of me right now, but basically whatever I saw recently was confirming the same thing. Physical market tightness and stress regarding the deliveries. Like enormous deliveries early this month, and now the lease rates still not close to zero if they ever get as low again. I heard about, well, heard. Saw news about huge inflows into the SLV ETF, but well, it's debatable whether the metal is there. So I don't want to go deep into this. Um, I would just overall say that the signs are everywhere. You turn your head.
Yeah, and certainly been in the lease rates, and you also talked about some of the inventories, and I get what you're saying, and unfortunately I don't think we have to like guess on some of the unknowns because we saw a couple months ago that the metal wasn't there. LBMA was saying it, India was telling you, London was telling you, Royal Mint was telling you, China's been warning of
Mhm.
shortages. So it's not, I think that's one of the nice parts, especially for the time we've both been doing this. It was a lot of, well, watch out one day, watch out one day. And some people, are cursing at you if that day doesn't come quick enough, yet here it is. Although here we also have from Just Dario that I know several people are familiar with, quite active on Twitter, and he's written some interesting silver articles recently. And basically, if we cut down here, he says, what if one day a buyer comes into the market and there is no offer for silver left? Well, now he's talking about there's rumors that there was a large trader who stood for delivery around the time the COMEX coolant system overheated. Yet we don't really have to go that far because it already happened. And here another article, this one from Gold Broker, where let's see, where do they have? They mention the large order from India. I usually remember exactly where these all are. But basically, I will find that as well. But okay, here we go. LBMA oversees the London market reported a stockpile of 844 million ounces, 23,000 tons. Yet the market was unable to deliver a 1,000-ton order. There's some other interesting part in there, but again, it's like we're not speculating or guessing anymore. And in case anyone still doesn't believe you, I mean, there's your scoreboard, but. I mean, we've already hit that point. And do you think that what happened in October has been completely resolved yet, or is this? Wow, and look at that spike on the long-term silver chart.
Well, I think
Goodness.
it's wonderful.
That's the max chart. That sure is fun to look at.
Um, yep, exactly. My best guess, because we have no official documentation for all of this, I think most of this is happening behind the scenes, like arrangements. Okay, I will help you now to deliver this silver from this vault, and I know a guy who knows a guy who has some silver, and things like that are probably taking place, but it can only work for so long. I mean, probably what we saw in October, oh, well, probably that got resolved in a quite crazy way. Like silver was just packed into planes and it moved from London to COMEX and then slowly back over to London. But it doesn't, and it changed, COMEX inventory levels, so the ratio got more favorable. But it doesn't change anything. It's basically you're still broke. You just moved your change from one pocket to the next, and then all the way back to the original one. So you're still broke this time in terms of silver. So. mm, I think it was partially resolved, but I mean, the initial shock was resolved, but it's the time goes by month after month. Uh, More companies will demand delivery, and it's not gonna get better. Like, okay, it could get better if we get a crash on the stock market. Okay, then probably many markets would decline, silver probably included, but just like what we saw in 2008 or 2020. But right now we're after a breakout above 50, perhaps 50 would be the floor right now. Uh, but would it resolve the situation in the physical market? Not necessarily so. We're just pushing down, like kicking the can down the road. We're postponing the inevitable, and by inevitable, I mean the repricing of silver into three digits. And and I don't mean just 100. So, and the one thing I'd like to add is that, well, right now, what we are generally focusing on is the physical tightness, the day-to-day price movement. But the the most remarkable thing is that in most markets, such price increases solve the dilemma. Like they increase supply and they limit the demand. But in case of silver, it's not really happening. Like most silver, like 70%, 80%, um, is mined as a byproduct, so not mostly from silver mines. So silver supply depends more on prices of other um, commodities, copper, lead, gold, zinc, than on the price of silver. So basically, the supply of silver depends more on the price of electricity than they do on the price of silver. Quite ironic. And the other thing is that the time to develop a mine and to actually start mining silver from discovery, it's a very long time. It's about on average, I think. Let me see. I think 18 years. And a fun fact: the U.S. has the second longest mine development time in the world, at almost 29 years from first discovery to first production. And only Zambia has longer time, 34 years. So,
Yeah,
so it's not getting better despite the whatever happens temporarily. If it gets resolved, it doesn't really matter from the long-term or medium-term point of view. It's still gonna we are still likely to get another uh, short squeeze.
yeah, and one thought that came up while you were saying that, I remember when Keith Neumeyer was petitioning, and then several other executives were petitioning the Canadian government to get silver listed as a strategic critical mineral. The main thing they were asking for was to make that permitting process easier. So I'm curious, given what Trump is doing, if they'll address that could hopefully change some of that. But we shall see. And the other thing that you mentioned is, well, how could that affect things if there were a crash in the market? Now, I mean, there's a variety of ways the price could go, but I would say if you had like a Lehman type thing in the market, that would actually exacerbate the deficit because right now there's been a ton of selling going on the retail level.
Mm.
And from the days that I was doing stuff with a bullion dealer, I remember what really gets their phone ringing was when you have a market crash or a bank fail. So, um, I guess it's possible we could see the price come down, although you'd be getting, and that's the divergence between the paper and physical markets, which, in
Yeah.
all fairness, like, hey, well, the largest investment customer was selling. You just saw the greatest rally in history, so at least this time, it sometimes it does go both ways.
Mhm.
Przemysław just I found these parts just for
Okay.
anyone watching. Here was Gottlieb saying same underlying stress in the physical markets. Here was the part about India on October 8th. An order for 1,000 tons of silver placed by India triggered an immediate freeze in London silver market. Silver lease rates instantly skyrocketed. You talked about some of these government solar programs that I'm sure you've seen. I don't have them handy, but the numbers be that India is projecting are massive. And then from Bloomberg, let us not forget that as unideal as this situation is, we still have London vaults, yada yada, as New York traders await the outcome of U.S. Commerce Department probe, which should have been due in October, although our government was couldn't fund itself once again. Also, probably not a good sign. Hey, hey, why couldn't you guys figure out what the tariff status was? Well, our government shut down, and people are buying silver. They're a little concerned. So any thoughts on this Section 232 report, where now that silver was added as a critical mineral, it's subject to this report, which amazingly, you would think that the government then wouldn't tariff the thing that's in short supply, making it harder and more expensive to get it in. But what say you, my friend?
Oh, there are just so many ways in which politicians can play this, and I can't imagine what they will do. But I don't mean the ways in which it's going to play out, but I know what the bottom line will be. The bottom line will be that Uncle Sam will want to get more silver, get the stockpiles. to manufacture weapons, high-tech technology to facilitate AI development, and so on. So there are multiple ways in which it could develop. I'm not sure which one is most likely. And my point is, it doesn't even matter because the end result will always likely be the same. They will want to own silver because that's what they will need. Whether they exempt it from tariffs or they will say that it will be tariff, but then they will make some sort of exceptions, like it was in case of copper. So we had dual price of copper for a while. I'm not sure if it's going to happen for silver. What I am pretty sure of is that it's going to end up in increased demand for the physical metal, also from the official sector this time. And also, I'd like to comment on what you said about the crash and the physical demand. I think you're right. I mean, in these circumstances, the correction in silver, well, the slide could be just a correction and it could be short-lived because of physical tightness, as people realize quickly what's going on and well, prepare for the takeoff.
Well, I hear you. And perhaps just let's say that someone with a lot of new people coming into the silver market with all of our shiny attention we're getting these days.
Mhm.
Let's say someone is new or even a longtime veteran and is thinking, all right, well, you just laid a handful of things on me to consider. Would there by any chance be a place where someone may have really written this all down in an organized fashion, like they could just click a button and then it would come to them? And could you think of anything that out there that might be able to help summarize all this in just in time for the holidays?
Oh yes, definitely I can. I invite everyone to get and read my book, Silver Rising, 100 Reasons Why Silver Will Soar. And I'm not sure if it's visible on the screen right now, but if you go to Arcadia Economics, that's silver2026.com, then you get to this nice page that you can see on your screen right now, and you get a discount for the book. I want this book to be available to pretty much everyone, so because the message is important. Um, so it's the regular price is just $19, and with this link, it's for just $9. And you're also getting 2 weeks of the Silver Catalyst newsletter. It's something where I'm providing updates like every other week in theory. That's my promise. But recently, I've been providing this newsletter every week because the situation simply demands it, and I like to exceed expectations. So um, please go to arcadiaeconomics.silver2026.com and I invite you to get the book. Just $9, and it's really 100 catalysts driving silver higher, all with clickable sources, all with estimation of likely price impact and probability, and a five-star rating. So there are 3 chapters. The final one is about implementation. So portfolio structuring, ways to buy silver, what to watch for, what are the pitfalls, and what not to do, even what kind of safe to buy if you want to store it in your home. So uh, definitely please take a look.
All right. And
Also,
Przemysław,
oh, sorry,
go
sorry.
ahead.
One more thing, because this is important. Because this book includes insights of Chris, yours truly.
Oh boy.
Uh, yes, and I have to tell you because I asked several top voices from the silver industry 3 questions on silver, and there were also 3 questions to choose out of 6 about life and general wisdom. But Chris replied to all 6 of those. So you get 9
I
very
wish I wish
important.
I'd seen select three. I could have been lazier, although I remember I was
Right.
up late one night doing that too. Although fortunately, my on a good day, my Whisper Flow voice dictation app makes some of these things a lot easier. Lately, it's disagreeing. We have different views on punctuation and commas and things, but hopefully I said something of insight in at least
Oh,
the six.
you definitely did. Great, it's great content, and I encourage everyone to read that. Thank you again, Chris.
Yeah, well, I kind of remember, the don't remember exactly what I said, but as people have heard me probably getting sick of me saying this on the show each time, but it's like I hope people are taking a moment to just like you said earlier to you're seeing history. It's like, like people who knows what will happen in the future, but I mean the same way we sat here talking about, well, 2011, too bad you weren't around, or 1980 and you get some. So I mean, I think for everyone who's whether new or long time. It's exciting. And Przemysław, is it true? I did hear a rumor floating around. Everyone, I have a couple people I know in the banking sector here and there. Stay clean, but I heard is it true that this actually makes for a fantastic Christmas gift, and especially if you're in one of those neighborhoods where you're worried about kids getting indoctrinated with Keynesian economics, that one could conceivably buy 100 of these and donate them to a school or something. Is that accurate?
Well, that's definitely true. After you buy the book, you get the chance to buy it for someone else as a gift. And this also gives you an extra month of access to the newsletter once they redeem your gift. So this way the goodness spreads, and you are helping the community to learn about silver, and also, perhaps even more importantly, to be aware of the Keynesian shenanigans.
Well, Przemysław, did you think about getting Warren Buffett a copy? Because I know he's now concerned about the debt. This way, at least, he could use it as a doorstopper or read it. Although Warren has invested in silver twice, and it's fascinating. Have you ever seen his, I think it was from 1998, his Berkshire Hathaway meeting where he talks about his investment there and everything he says, it's like we have the same conditions now, except intensified.
Yes, yes. Well, I recall that he said that he bought too late and sold too early, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing that. But other than that, that was a perfect trade. But I think that maybe he would appreciate some of the points in the book. I'm definitely positive that he would appreciate your comments in the book, and that's a good idea. Maybe I should send it to him.
Yeah, well, he even talked about when silver was being taken out of the money back in the 60s was the first time he invested in silver. So I can conclusively 100% factually say that I think Warren Buffett would enjoy the book if he read it. I can't, who knows what he would do. But anyway, I'll stop being silly. And Przemysław, I just want to thank you for joining me. How about we take one last look at the silver price, see what's
Okay,
gone.
is it 72 already? Oh, no.
Well, you're gonna have to eat your dinner first, and it should be 72 by then. See, we got our high of the day at 71.79, and I will just remind you and our audience again that here we are back on November 20th, so slightly a month ago. Was that 48 bucks? So basically, it went up 50% in a month. If we're at 72, is my math? You should have seen me back in my options days. I had my mock trading math was sharp, but that looks like
Mm,
24 over 48. That's about 50% in a month.
crazy.
Then if you go a little farther back to when the party kicked off in August, I like this August 18th date where we got down there 37.24. So and if we make it up to 74, 75 bucks, the silver price will have doubled since August. There you go.
Mm,
How
exactly.
could
And
you argue with that? So, Przemysław, I sure appreciate you joining me. I sure appreciate you taking the time to put this book together. You'll have to let me know when you wrap up how I can get my signed autographed copy, hopefully, and something to feel special and and show that off. And More than anything, I just want to wish you
Thank you.
a happy holiday and also to everybody watching at home. This will be my last show before the Christmas break, but hopefully it's a really special year for everyone, yourself included, with everything that's going on.
Thank you, Chris. And I would also love to get your book with a signature on it. So, thank you for your invitation to the show. It's been a pleasure, especially on this day, especially right before Christmas. And also, I want to wish you and everyone watching this happy holidays. Happy holidays, and lots of peace, love, and um, great time with your close and loved ones.
I wasn't sure where you're going at the end. Peace, love, and higher silver and triple digit silver. So throw it
No.
in too. Now, one last time, and just beautifully said, and go get your copy of Silver Rising. Link is in the description field below. Yeah, you don't even have to type the whole thing out, and go support this man who's done some great things for the silver world. So, Przemysław, thank you kindly. We'll have to do this again soon. Who knows what the price will be by then, but once again, happy holidays to everyone. Congratulations on all of the success, not just what's happening now, but all the steps and patience it took to get here. And so go have fun staring at the silver Christmas price over silver. Stare at the Christmas price over silver. You can track how that comes down. Also, the silver price over Christmas. And Przemysław, again, congratulations on the book, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.